One way to look at regenerative is sort of the opposite end of the spectrum from industrial. There was a time when organic was the ceiling, and now organic is kind of the floor. It's the baseline, and we're looking at these sets of practices that are above and beyond. And that shifting conversation, I think, is an amazing thing. And it creates, again, this opportunity for everybody to be involved in. Seek out knowledge and information, because that's a big part of the industrial paradigm, is to deny people access to knowledge, information, and the ability to gain proper food and proper nourishment and proper community activity. And that's something that we have the ability to take back for ourselves.
Yeah, it's been really cool to see the evolution of the conversation of regenerative cannabis, especially at the Emerald Cup. It's funny, we heard from the nursery in town that they're not stocking smart pots anymore because nobody's buying them. And so it's like, this is a shift that has happened really quickly in the cannabis space. The smart pots came on really quickly, and then they're like, it's not the cool thing to do anymore.
So we're big believers in polyculture, in multi-species, in habitat support, making sure that we're providing space for pollinators, building soil through cover cropping. California didn't used to turn brown in the summertime. It used to be deep-rooted perennial bunch grasses that stayed green. And with the rotational grazing of the chickens, the annual grasses, the wild oats and such, they outcompete the bunch grasses a lot of times. And so if you can knock those down and provide an opportunity for the bunch grasses to reinsert themselves, they'll come back, and then you see these plants that, in the middle of a brown field, there's like bunch grasses that stay green. And so for us, slowly, it's happening, but we're just scratching the surface of it, is seeing a shift in pasture species towards perennial bunch grasses and towards a greener landscape that is fire resistant and more resilient.
I think our job as hill folk, people living in the hills, but even in the valleys, is to be able to store more water up here, to keep the water in the high country, and plant more trees, keep it greener longer.
I think that there's a real strong potential for a future of smallholders engaging in regenerative land use practices and food system work that creates local food security and reverses climate change. And I have a fundamental hope and belief in this that really drives me. And seeing this grow in the last 10 years for me, in which, going from not being a food farmer and not really engaging in this type of dialogue to being, full-fledged local food system advocate, it really, again, sort of drives a sense of hope for me, because if I can experience in just 10 years this profound personal transformation, and I see it happening and expanding throughout our culture and community, it really gives me hope for the future.